least live-ish to the people of YouTube. Welcome to the NBA Strategy Show presented by Yahoo Sports. It is Monday, November 25th. We are on the week of Thanksgiving. Only 2 games tomorrow, a monster Wednesday slate before a night off of basketball. But we still have to deal with today. I am joined by Dave Lochran. What's up, Lofty?
What's going on, brother? How about our boy Ben Rasa?
Getting that paper last night. Millie Sweat, number 2.
Crazy, man.
And then destroyed 6 or 7 other contests as well with that lineup.
I know, just unbelievable. And he doesn't. People that say you can't do it with less than 150 lineups. Well, Ben's done it many times, so he's doing something right.
Yeah. Speaking of Ben Rasa, you can get Jazz Raz on the NBA Strategy Show. It's not live before lock. I have the wrong thing on here. You can get Jazz Raz on the NBA Strategy Show this Wednesday, filling in for Sal Vetri before Thanksgiving.
Very nice.
Yeah. I've done very few shows with Ben at this point. We cross over the wrong sports. But
yeah, I did the NBA Strategy Show with him.
Yeah, you're going to be doing it again next Friday as well.
Yeah, it was pretty fun.
It's a good time. Engelman, you're still a falling knife in the NFL. I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Ridley hit.
I got my pick right. The streak is over. I'm going to now get wins for the rest of the year and catch Spags. I'm going to be both of these things. I'm going to have the fun curse. It's coming, man. It's coming. I hit Ridley on the dot. 100 yards and a TD. That's all you needed, and that's exactly what I got. Thank you for the 15-yard run.
No, you got it. You got it. And you asked about what falling knife was. It's a stock trading term where people say you try to catch the knife, meaning a stock's plummeting and you're trying to catch it at its bottom and catch a falling knife, right? So you're trying to catch it like when it hits its bottom. Usually doesn't work. It keeps going down and you're screwed. But yeah, that's when you hear catch a falling knife. I'm not necessarily sure how they're using it in this context, but I'm sure it makes sense in some way that I'm missing.
I love YouTube chat telling me that I'm wrong about the rules of a contest that Spags and I created. The 100 all-purpose yards. He got it on the dot. I got it. I'm not making this up. I'm just right. So, congrats to everybody in YouTube chat for just being wrong. What else is new? Sorry, YouTube chat. So I got it. 15 yards rushing. Offset the 85 receiving. I hit it on the nose.
That's amazing that he went over in scrimmage yards.
Yeah. I deserve bonus points for hitting it on the number. I don't get extra correct picks if he goes over 100 yards. I got exactly what I needed. Calvin Ridley yesterday had the exact amount of yards in the same way that I got a 2.0 on the dot to graduate college.
Yeah. You crushed it, brother. You crushed it.
We don't have to say that I'm 1 for 12. I am on a 1-week streak.
Winning streak.
The previous 11 weeks are now irrelevant. I am the most consistent picker of this at this point in time. But anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm going to drop the link to Emacs Cash Games Building Blocks article into YouTube chat right now. If you'd like to sign up at our presenting sponsor, Yahoo Sports, where you can become a baller, head to the bottom of that article. There should be a link that you can click on. Use the promo code AWESOMO and get up to $30 in Yahoo Sports rewards points. Their contest, the baller, is their main contest for each day, whether that's NFL Sundays or every night for the NBA. No different again today. You'll pay lower management fees, sometimes no management fee. A lot of 10 max contests, going to be softer competition, so I highly recommend you check it out. So thanks to Yahoo for being our sponsor. Normally, we would be starting this off with a bit of a lineup study look, but Fantasy Cruncher is down for some maintenance right now, so we have 11 games, and honestly, of all of the combinations of people that do those shows, we need that extra 5-10 minutes.
I hear you, dude. Listen, sometimes NBA Cruncher not is working.
I get it. Okay.
I hope so.
Yeah. Well, I don't have anything else to touch on right now. other than the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Brooklyn Nets. What do you think? You ready to do this?
Let's make it happen, baby.
Here we go. As I mentioned, Cavs and Nets. Cavs 1 point. Did I enter this correctly? Am I already wrong out of the gate? I think
very possible.
Yeah, I wouldn't bet again. Yeah, holy hell. So the Cleveland Cavaliers are 1 point favorites at home against the Nets today.
Wow.
Yeah. You could see why that would confuse me.
Certainly can, yes.
Wow. Got a little bit of
that's very surprising.
I know. I just assumed that was a typo or I looked at something wrong. We'll start on the Cleveland side. Kevin Love is questionable for today, but I think that it's expected that he's just going to play, and he was sitting out part of a back-to-back. So I have everybody in for Cleveland as if it's a normal day. On the Brooklyn side, clearly no Karis LeVert, no Kyrie Irving. Should be a relatively normal day for the Nets. We'll start with Cleveland. I'm not terribly intrigued by $8,800 Kevin Love on FanDuel. He's $7,800 on DraftKings. Still not all that appealing. $30 on Yahoo looks kind of nice. I don't have a ton to go here. I think Colin Sexton on FanDuel for $5,400 might be my favorite piece of Cleveland, but ultimately, I don't think I want Cleveland at all.
I generally never do, and I don't know how much that's going to change today. Tristan Thompson has seen his price tag increase, and he's going to have some good games, but I still can't say that I'm enamored with him. It's a decent enough matchup against this Brooklyn front court, but on an 11-game slate, we're really going to have to get a bit nitpicky here. And then Kevin Love, like you said, you expect most of these guys to play. He's got the bruised lower back, and he's missed a couple games as a result, but he was back on the 22nd, and I would say that as of now, he missed the 23rd. He played the 22nd. I think he's definitely. I don't want to say I'm confident that he's going to play here. So
okay.
if he doesn't, well then I guess the question here is, what do we do with Larry Nance? Nance played 32 minutes in that game. Man, the Portland Blazers have really struggled. But
it's amazing that Carmelo Anthony hasn't made things better.
I'm very, very surprised, must say. But I think, Nance, if he gets another 30 plus minutes, he played 35 minutes in the game that he started against Miami. I believe that one was in place of Thompson though, right?
Correct.
Yeah. And then 32 minutes in last game against Portland. I would like him more starting at the 5. So that's kind of a big thing here. He'd start, presumably you'd get him at the 4 if Love is out and Thompson plays, assuming he starts. And that's interesting, but I'd have less interest, especially now that his salary has come up.
Yeah, $6,200 on FanDuel, $5,700 on DraftKings.
It's a bit much.
He's just going to be like a perfectly acceptable play if that happens. I think Jetty on FanDuel, $3,800. He's $4,600 on DraftKings. If Kevin Love happened to be out, you would see him get 30 plus minutes, I would imagine, at which point $3,800 just kind of has to be looked at. He stinks though.
Yeah, he's not. Oh yeah, he's not particularly good. And I remember there was a time last year, maybe it was even the season before, where Chetty actually had a couple good games and then just fell right back off a cliff. Like it was clear that what we saw from him was what you would consider an anomaly, Josh. And I don't expect to see big games from him going forward. They don't have a lot of good players on this team, but there are still guys that command the ball, that still have decent usage. Like Colin Sexton, when he's out there, he's going to get plenty of opportunities. Jordan Clarkson isn't a particularly high usage guy this season, but when he's on the floor, he's getting the ball before somebody like Chetty Osman does. So there's just not a lot to love here.
Nope.
When you look at usage this season with Kevin Love off the floor, it goes to Sexton at 27.4%. That's pretty significant in 169 minutes. Clarkson at 25.3, Garland at 23.8. You have to scroll all the way down to get to Chetty Osman at 15.9% per minute production with Love off. Clarkson 1.08, Thompson at 1 even, Nance at 0.9, Sexton at 0.88, Chetty Osman at 0.72. Not great.
No, he's not great at all. I really hope that Love just plays so I don't have to think about it, because I'd really rather just not play really anything from Cleveland tonight. Pace up spot, I guess.
Would Love being out do enough to get to Thompson for you? 23% usage, his rebounding 15% per minute, 1.00. Or is that price just not there?
I don't get the sense that I would have much. He would be in play. He would be a guy that fills out lineups, but not necessarily any sort of core piece.
Yeah. Sexton's usage without Love is very interesting, but I can't get to that price tag. And the biggest reason for it being, I don't care if he's the primary ball handler on this team. He's just not a good playmaker whatsoever. Rebounding, sure, I don't expect him to rebound well, but I mean, when you're averaging 2 assists per game across 30 minutes, and you are bringing the ball up the court, that's terrible.
Not great. Not great. I don't get the sense that Cleveland is going to be super happy with the Collins, Sexton, Darius Garland backcourt for the long term.
Yeah, I can't imagine so. And you'd say, oh, well, maybe Garland's just getting most of those opportunities. Well, you'd be wrong about that too. He's done nothing in that respect either.
No, the whole team's not particularly awesome. Other than Kevin Love and I guess Tristan Thompson.
Yeah, no, it's ugly, man.
On the Brooklyn side, it's Spencer Dinwiddie once again, 7,800 on FanDuel, 7,600 on DraftKings, and one of my favorite plays, at least particularly on FanDuel for 78. I'll have some Taurean Prince, 5,400 and 5,200. A little bit of Garrett Temple, a little bit of Joe Harris will sneak into my lineups, that's for sure. Cleveland is one of the worst, if not the worst, defenses in the league. What stands out to you? Dinwiddie, I assume, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of just have to keep rostering Spencer Dinwiddie. I don't know why DraftKings has not increased his price at all. He's been very consistent. They are playing the second of a back-to-back, but who cares? He's getting up a ton of shots, which is what we're looking for. And then, like many of the guys we just discussed, Spencer Dinwiddie's a pretty decent passer. So, it's 11 games, and it's going to keep him from being like, an extraordinarily good play. But I still think at this price, he is a really good option. And I mean, the very simple way I see it is when you've got certain players that are priced around him, Zach LaVine, John Morant, McCollum, Fred VanVleet being more expensive. Fred VanVleet's having a great season, sure, but tough matchup against the Sixers. Do you really want to pay an additional 500 or 400 for VanVleet when you have Dinwiddie here against Cleveland? For me, the answer is no. Oh, so you like VanVleet over Dinwiddie? Because I definitely don't here.
Let me compare them quickly. I do like VanVleet. Where are they hiding? Nah, it's going to be Dinwiddie for me. I thought I had VanVleet slightly higher. It's closer for me than I would have, or than you probably thought, but it's still Dinwiddie.
Yeah.
The $7,600 price on DraftKings is just a little tough for me. He's still good. I'm still happy, but FanDuel and Yahoo for 32 are the two best prices.
Yeah, I don't think 76 is that bad if I'm throwing him up against other players that are priced similarly to him. Sure. We'll get to guys like Ben Simmons, who's really, really discounted, but yeah, I don't have an issue with it. Like I said, he's not an extraordinarily good play. I'm well aware of that, but I'm still going to get there with Kyrie Irving already been ruled out. The usage for Spencer Dinwiddie with him off the floor this season and with Karis LeVert off the floor. You know what it is, Josh? I'll tell you, because it's pretty solid. 34.6%.
I have him in for 31, so I could even bump that up if I needed to.
Yeah. Sorry, 34.8%, 1.26 fantasy points per minute, 37.4% assists. Those are the rates of a guy that's priced above 8K, honestly.
Yeah. Look, he's a really nice value. I just prefer it on FanDuel. That's all.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you there, but I don't think he's out of play on DraftKings is what I'm saying.
Agreed. Anything else for you from Brooklyn? You into Prince?
Yeah, he's been good, and his price has come down a little bit from where it was before. Against Cleveland, I don't have an issue with it. Cleveland's not going to play at an elevated pace. Pretty slow team, but all in all, the guy that I really like here is Dinwiddie. And then, like I said, I think when we were on the show on Friday, you get into guys like Harris, and their prices are just a little bit too inflated for me to feel good about getting there.
There we go. Pistons and Magic, 106 implied total for the Pistons, 101.5 for the Magic. That is the lowest number on the slate. We will have no Aaron Gordon, no Nikola Vucevic, Vooch out for a while. Pistons side, Blake should be back. I believe everything is just going to be business as usual except for Tony Snell. On the Pistons side, I mean, Luke Kennard for 5,500 plays a ton of minutes. Langston Galloway for 4,200 plays a ton of minutes. These prices on DraftKings, less appealing. Kennard and Galloway, both more expensive on DraftKings than they are on FanDuel. I don't mind getting to a couple shares of Drummond and Blake, but I think that I'm really just more interested in the value guys. Ultimately, this is a pace down spot against a team with a pretty solid defense. I don't think it's really appealing to get to Detroit.
Yeah, it's not. Drummond is still going to have some very big games with Blake on the floor, but a couple of things to consider. Blake, we saw his minutes. He's played a season high 33 minutes last time out against Atlanta, and that game was well out of reach. I mean, midway through the third quarter, that was a 29-point game. So there's clearly zero restrictions left on Blake Griffin. If you're playing 33 minutes, you're going down to the last 2.5 minutes of this game before you're taken out. There's no concerns left whatsoever. But I had this conversation with, I think it was Adam the other day. He thought he was a discount at 7,700. And look, I'm not going off of results. He certainly could have been right, but I don't feel comfortable with Griffin at like a near 8K price point on DraftKings right now, until I start to see something. And I know you don't want to be the guy that catching the falling knife would kind of make sense if you're using this term, right? Like, hey, let me get Griffin when he's hitting his bottom and hope that I get him on the rebound. That would make sense to put it that way.
Yeah, for sure.
And I get it. 7,100 is a lot more favorable here. And given Orlando's defense, which has been very solid this season, I guess the biggest question you have is, are we going to see Jonathan Isaac on Blake Griffin defensively? One-on-one matchups. I try not to put too much stock into it.
Yeah.
But with Aaron Gordon out, Vucevic is also out. I think you're going to see a lot of Isaac on Blake Griffin and potentially some Al-Farouq Aminu as well. It's actually a pretty tough matchup for him.
Yeah, I have no interest in the Pistons on DraftKings. They're all too expensive.
Yeah.
Now, if you told me that Blake blew 7,100 out of the water, that's the piece that makes sense the most. But we're saying is that Blake Griffin is good at basketball. That's really easy to know. Just not sure that he's there yet. 1.08 FanDuel points per minute so far this season. I like the value a little bit more on the FanDuel side, but still nothing crazy. I think the Orlando piece is what we need to talk about the most. And these guys are essentially unplayable on DraftKings. Jonathan Isaac is $900 more expensive on DK. Evan Fournier is $500 more expensive. Markelle Fultz is $100 more expensive. Mo Bamba is $300 more expensive. What is happening here?
I don't have any idea. Wait, I'm sorry. They're 300 more expensive where?
DraftKings. John Isaac, 7,900 on DK, 7K on FanDuel. Fournier, 6,400 on DraftKings, 59 on FanDuel. Yeah. So, I like Isaac quite a bit on FanDuel. I like Fournier quite a bit on FanDuel. I like Mo Bamba for 4,100 a little bit on FanDuel. I don't want to roster a single one of these guys on DraftKings.
I don't disagree with you. I mean, Isaac's been very good. And I guess the thing is, if he's playing, let's see, the last game they played was the 23rd, right? Just to pull something up here real quick. That was a tight game. So you had the starting lineup of Fultz, Fournier, Kem Birch, Isaac, and Iwundu. Did Isaac start at the 3? I guess he did, huh? Or did he start at the 4 and and West. No, so West Iwundu would have started at the 3,
right?
And Isaac at the 4. I believe that was Saturday. I kind of don't pay attention to basketball on Saturday. And okay, closer to the basket for Isaac is really a positive thing for me, especially given that his blocked shot rate this season is ridiculous. Might be the highest in the league for anyone playing, 30 plus minutes per game. But 7,900, man, that's tough, especially against this Detroit front court. Yeah, it's a long way of me saying I totally agree with you, but unfortunate because when you got 2 top guys in the front court out, both of their starters playing 30 plus minutes, you would think that we'd find something here regardless of the matchup, right? But I don't think there's any way we can do that at these price points.
No, we're on the same page. Isaac Fournier and Bamba on FanDuel. Fultz and Ross, if you're like really building 150, those guys are in the pool, but these guys are not DraftKings plays today.
No, that's what, sometimes that preemptive pricing can be good because people get scared off. And like Spencer Dinwiddie, you had a lot of people like, hey, I can't pay that much for him, even though he was a really good play. So it can be pretty positive, right? If you're identifying the good spots, even though they're priced fairly. But in a spot like this, man, that's a lot to pay on these guys in a slow paced matchup, nonetheless.
To Indiana we go. 112.75 implied total.
And we're moving, huh?
We're through 2 games. We only have an hour
fast.
already. I mean, we'll ruin it. We'll ruin it.
We're cruising, baby. Sorry, go ahead.
We'll ruin it. Pacers and Grizzlies. 112.75 implied total for Indiana. 103.75.
I love your positivity, dude. It's just wonderful.
I mean, we've got a pretty big sample at this point in time. Like, what are you going to do?
Yeah, we do. In this Pacers game, like, this is the first time they got everyone healthy in what, a month?
Yeah, welcome back, Malcolm Brogdon. He says he's 100%. You and I talked a little bit about this game before we started. Indiana's defense, quite good. A little bit of a pace-up spot for them as well. Memphis defense, the opposite of quite good. I like the 5 guys that are starters. I don't want anybody else from Indiana. I'm willing to roster Sabonis, Turner, Brogdon, Lamb, and Warren. Malcolm Brogdon for 8,500 on FanDuel. Tough sell. Malcolm Brogdon for 6K on DraftKings. A little bit less so. Looks fantastic there. I'm in across the board for every one of these guys in some form or fashion.
What a silly price point that is.
6K, man.
Jonathan Isaac is 6,900. Evan Fournier is 6,400. And to be fair, he's had some decent games. And Malcolm Brogdon is 6K flat. I really don't get that at all. He's the same price as Kai Bowman, man. Like, come on.
Did they think he was coming back to the Bucks?
Dude, get this. You will truly appreciate this. He's cheaper than Aaron Holiday.
Yeah. They finally priced Aaron Holiday up.
It's the silliest thing. But Malcolm Brogdon at that price, from a value from an anything standpoint, you're just not going to get better than that. And, you can ask, well, maybe he's only going to play 30 minutes. I don't care. Maybe he wasn't looking that great before that injury. He had some tough games. I don't care at all. What's interesting about this rotation, this is what I had brought up to you that you alluded to before the show, is there's a lot of moving parts only because we haven't seen this team with Lamb healthy, with Turner healthy, with Brogdon healthy, with Sabonis healthy. I don't think we've seen it for a month around, right? With all 5 of them.
It's been a hot minute. Turner missed 8 games. So he got hurt in that 9th one, so I can't even count that one. And then Lamb was out for the game. They've never been together.
Well, no, what about the first game?
I'm going off. I cut off at the 26th, so probably opening day. On the 26th, Lamb was already out for 2 games, the 26th and the 28th.
Right.
Then he came back for 4, but Turner was essentially out for all of those.
Right.
He got hurt halfway through the game on October 30th.
Yeah, the game that I pulled up earlier this morning was, I believe, October 23rd. 23rd or 20.
That
Oh, yeah.
sense.
Okay. So here you go. October 23rd. And Lamb, Sabonis, Turner, Brogdon, Warren. They were all in the starting lineup. But the funny thing is, Jeremy Lamb got in foul trouble 6 minutes into the first quarter and then caught his third foul with about 5 minutes left in the second quarter. So there you go. I don't know how much time he missed. He played 26 minutes, but he was playing really big minutes on the season before he got hurt. My assumption is that, Jeremy Lamb plays, I want to put him around 32 minutes here. He's been out for 7 games, so it's possible that he plays a little bit less. And I don't know, did Aaron Holiday, did guys like McConnell, did these guys play well enough to earn a little bit more time? Probably not. They've been okay, but not spectacular. I want to give, and by the way, that was the last game Jeremy Lamb played until before he got injured. 11:05 was the last game he played. So he's been out for just shy of 3 weeks, comes back, plays 28 minutes. I feel comfortable giving him around 32 here in his second game back. But Brogdon, even if he gets 30, I don't really care. You had said before the show, it doesn't really matter what these bench guys are getting. We're going to be projecting all 5 starters for at least 30 minutes.
Correct. We just got ownership. Sabonis at 20% on FanDuel. Nothing going to Brogdon or Turner. I think that's pretty wrong for Turner at the very least, although he's been pretty bad this season. 0.89 FanDuel points per minute. I've got his raw talent quite a bit higher than that. Jeremy Lamb on FanDuel at 6,300, just 9%. TJ Warren at 6%. If I hop over to DK, we've got Sabonis at 18, Brogdon at 28, which makes perfect sense. Lamb and Warren at 9 and 10% respectively. I really like the Lamb lack of ownership, especially on FanDuel for 6,300.
How many minutes are you giving him?
I gave him 30, and I still like him quite a bit. I could easily bump that number to 32 as we get closer to lock, which would really cement him as a favorite value for me.
Yeah. What would be interesting to see is what their usage was. The problem is we just have such a small sample. Like, I'd love to know what the usage was with all of these guys on the floor, but we could have only had a couple games with that being the case.
I think usage is going to be really difficult to predict for this team, but at the same
time,
that's what I mean. I don't think that anybody is really going to be like a high usage guy. Mid 20s for a particular person is going to be sort of the ceiling.
Right. And yeah, the good thing though is Sabonis is a fantastic rebounder, and he's good. He can clean up in the paint. He's done a really solid job of producing in the paint this season. Do you think he's worth it at 8,100 on DraftKings now that the ball's going to have to be shared a little bit more?
Yeah. I mean, I prefer him over just about everything else that's around him. I'd rather have Sabonis than McCollum, Mitchell. You get Drummond $600 more. I'd rather have Sabonis. If I work my way down, I'd rather have Sabonis over Kevin Love. So I'm okay with paying that price tag for him. I think that he's got a pretty high floor just because of his rebounding ability. If today happens to be the day that he's cooking offensively, and there's no reason that shouldn't be the case against the Grizzlies, then I don't mind getting to Sabonis.
Man, they've played 18 minutes. This starting five has played 18 minutes together this season.
Nuts. Crazy. And
wow.
The funniest part of it all, it's not even their real starting five.
It's crazy. Yeah. Out of 3,120 minutes, I think that's the possible. You got 18 total minutes. Crazy. And you're right. It's not even their starting five. It's actually not a terrible roster.
No, they're a really solid basketball team. They are like
they just don't have any
seed.
They don't have any legit, I think in the playoffs they struggle. But because is there anybody that can take over games? Sabonis is good, but I don't think he's going to take games over. If Oladipo returns to form that we saw 2 years ago, or
which
was it
tough ask?
Beginning of last season, was it? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Then that's a different story. But I don't know if that's going to be the case.
Are you interested in anything from the Grizzlies side? Outside of Joe Val, 69 and 59, not really the team for me. Even with Morant seeing 30-plus minutes now.
Yeah, it's great seeing John Morant getting the run, but do you pay basically the same prices? Again, this is what I mean by when I'm comparing it to other. Do you pay the same price as Spencer Dinwiddie? I don't think it's necessary, and Dinwiddie's got a far more appealing matchup.
For sure, way better, way better.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not gonna have the Grizzlies.
I don't think I would either. I looked over it again just to see if there was anything I was missing here. Here, you're not going to get to these guys. You know, Jaren Jackson Jr. against this team. There's nobody I'm really going to get to. And again, I said it a million times. If I could get even 28 minutes consistently out of Joe Val, I'd have some different thoughts. But it's not the case. And man, he was terrible against Golden State. That was such a disappointment.
Very bad, very bad. I don't have anything else in this game.
No, I'm with you.
Bingo. To Atlanta we go. This one's a bit of a DFS nightmare for tonight. 115.5 implied total for the Hawks, 119 for the Wolves. Hawks defense, terrible. Big time pace up spot. This game's going to be a track meet. So Cam Reddish is questionable. Bruno Fernando is with their G League affiliate. So all of the center minutes are going to need to go to Alex Len and Damian Jones. Damian Jones is 3,900 on FanDuel, 3,900 on DraftKings. Alex Len is 3,600 on FanDuel, 3,500 on DraftKings. The ownership that is in for these guys is going to change pretty dramatically, I would expect. Those are two very interesting value options because we're going to need to get 48 minutes out of the combination of the two of them in some way. I like Trae Young quite a bit, 9,700 on FanDuel, 9,800 on DraftKings is a little bit harder to stomach. 44 on Yahoo looks pretty good. I think Jabari's in play. If Cam Reddish is out, we need to take a close look at DeAndre Bembry, who is $700 cheaper on FanDuel for reasons that don't make sense to me. There's a lot to like here. I didn't even mention DeAndre Hunter, who's getting double-digit ownership because I think that he's terrible and I don't want to roster him. Lots of value in Atlanta. What stands out for you?
Let's start with the front court.
Sure.
Start with the front court for a minute because you already mentioned a lot of it. Bruno Fernando's, what will we say, 15 minutes per game is gone? Yeah. 15 minutes per game is gone.
Right.
Alex Len has just been an utter failure this season. And, you know, you always say maybe this is Len's season. No, it's been terrible. So let's go ahead and just see what we're projecting these guys for in terms of minutes, because Damian Jones was already playing 20-plus minutes. He had seen 20-plus minutes in 7 of his last 8. The only game he didn't, he had 5 fouls and played 19 minutes. How are you projecting the front court rotation here? You know that Jabari Parker is going to get a decent amount of minutes. DeAndre Hunter has been playing 35 minutes with some at the 4. How many are we going to get at center? What are we going to see there? That's the big question here.
I gave Damian Jones 26. I gave Alex Len 22 for right now.
Okay.
That's where I'm.
Okay. Yeah. I'm trying. The one thing I was trying to look. So Alex Len last game, let's just take last game, for example, played 8. Damian Jones played 23. There's 31 there. And then Fernando played 16. So yeah, there's your 48. You're taking that out. You can't. The only question I have is, no, not against me. You can't play Jabari at the 5. I don't think you would, at least.
Karl Anthony Towns will absolutely eviscerate him.
Well, I'm saying if it's against the bench unit, but even so, you know, Gorgie Jang is going to be the one out there, and he's a monster too. Not that he's good. I'm saying he's just a big fella.
Too big.
So I think there probably will be games though where you see Jabari get minutes at the 5 because there's Lloyd Pierce doesn't have much interest in playing Damian Jones and Len for a combined 48 minutes.
Right.
But you're probably going to see that happen today where they do get the 48.
Yeah. Worst case scenario is there's going to be 2 to 4 minutes going to Parker, I think.
Right.
But I'm expecting them to have to get a decent chunk of change. They have to be value plays especially for the way that this matchup shakes out. Monster implied total, second highest on the day. Like Minnesota's 1, Atlanta's 2. I think this is a really interesting, especially like if Damian Jones gets in foul trouble starting against Towns, like Len could be in for 24 minutes. And if you know that he's getting 24 minutes, he has to be an incredible value play for today. For now, at least.
Yeah, the only issue here, and this is seriously, this is the biggest thing every single time we talk about him, is everywhere he goes, you're like, hey, maybe this coach will give him more minutes, right? Maybe this coach will give him that run. It hasn't happened no matter where he's gone, no matter what the carousel of coaches looked like in Phoenix, right? He ran through a litany of coaches there. And then the same thing goes for Lloyd Pierce. In a season where John Collins is suspended, I'm not saying he's playing a lot of the 5, but you lose your best front court member, and you need to do something to plug the holes. Alex Len is still getting games where he plays 8 minutes, 9 minutes. So I'm with you in projecting him 4 more minutes. Can we get a 24 and 24 between him and Jones? Yeah, we probably can. But man, is there anybody that you have less confidence in to get available minutes in a game than Alex Len?
Probably not. No. Yeah, it's not going to be.
But I'm with you.
It's not like you
fun.
have to. Huh? It's not going to be fun. You're not going to be heading into it with like. You're not going to feel good. It's going to give you bubble guts and stuff.
Yep. So you're giving Len how many?
22.
22. And Damian 26.
Yeah.
Yep. I get it.
So I
don't want to get it, but I get it.
I'm going to have probably a lot of Damian Jones if I have him in for 26 minutes.
You would think so, yeah.
Don't play them together. This one thing I could let everybody know, at least on DraftKings. They're both. Do you think
Cam Reddish plays?
I don't have him in right now. I don't think it matters all that much. I don't really want to play Bembry again. I don't need him to have a ceiling game as chalk again. That one wasn't really terribly fun. But if he's out, then Bembry is certainly in play at 4,600. Just stupidly priced on DraftKings. Outside of this Jones-Len conundrum, I really like Trae Young for 9,700 on FanDuel.
97 on FanDuel against Minnesota. Yeah, I totally understand that. You should see a good amount of scoring here. Minnesota playing at a top 3 pace this season, which is funny because Atlanta was that team that was playing at such an elevated pace before. 234.5 total. Monster numbers on this one. Minnesota 119.5 implied, but the Hawks are still the 3rd highest on the slate, Josh, and only a 4.5 point spread. So, yeah, Trae Young is really appealing. If you like him at 97 on FanDuel, you don't like him at 98 on DraftKings?
Not at all. I mean, like not at all, but I mean, that's a terrible price in comparison.
Compared to FanDuel, no question. But I also think FanDuel's price is actually too cheap. So I guess that's where I see it. This is.
I'd rather have Anthony Davis for 9,700 if that's the question.
Oh, dude, no question. And Karl Anthony Towns at 10-4 is also absurd.
Right.
So I guess I've said it all show relative to guys priced around him. It's not great, but this does still feel like a blow up spot for Trae Young.
Yeah. Jeff Teague's defense, not exactly scary.
Yeah, the furthest thing from frightening.
On the Minnesota side, Towns not projected for all that much ownership. 11-6 on FanDuel, 10-4 on DK. He should eat if he wants to. This is a fantastic spot for a guy averaging close to 1.5 fantasy points per minute. You can talk me into a little bit of Wiggins at this point. If Josh Okogie ends up out, there might be a little bit more value here. I've got Covington in. Not really any ownership coming in outside of Wiggins, but I don't know how you get away from paying up for Towns. This is a great spot.
Yep. Just play Karl Anthony Towns. Somebody tweeted at us the other day, like, dude, what Karl Anthony Towns has done to my bankroll this season, it's in disrepair. I'm paraphrasing, of course. And I get it, man. There have been some big time smash spots for Karl Anthony Towns, and he has just killed us, just absolutely killed us. But there's no way you're not going back to the well today. There's no way. And really, the rest of this team, I don't love at all. I think I've been really high on Wiggins this season, but with Teague back and Karl Anthony Towns, Wiggins would just be a modest option to me, not somebody that I love at that price point. I think you need to get him back down to, I don't know. I guess it's a fair price. I just don't love it, but it's a high total game. It'd be crazy to not think that a lot of players from this team or from this game are going to have really solid performances. But really, it's Karl Anthony Towns who is the top option here, and then it falls off a little bit. But yeah, I really like Towns a lot.
Yeah, he's my favorite pay up option on DK. I prefer him dramatically compared to LeBron or Giannis.
Assuming Teague gets like 33, 34 minutes here, do you have any interest in him?
For 6,100 on FanDuel, yes. For 6,300 on DraftKings, not so much.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And Towns is 49 on Yahoo. I like that.
61 on FanDuel is pretty friendly price tag.
It is. He's been at 1.08 FanDuel points per minute. That'll work.
These DraftKings prices are super strange. It seems like nobody's priced right. They're either too cheap or too expensive.
Yeah, this is who's that broad? Goldilocks?
Yeah, sure. What about her?
Soup temperature? Too hot? Too cold? Just right?
Oh yeah, I don't remember. I'll take your word for it.
I think it's Goldilocks, right? Earn them 3 bears. I don't know. Anyway, eat your soup.
The one where the witch puts them in a cage, fattens them up to eat them.
Hansel and Gretel?
I'm just kidding.
I don't know. I
think that is Hansel and Gretel with the breadcrumbs.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
Yeah. Joel Embiid's 8,800. I mean,
don't worry, man. I'll let you get to 25 minutes of Philly talk. We're getting there.
Don't worry. I don't think I even want Embiid at this price. We'll get there when we do though. I'm just saying there's a lot of guys that are priced oddly.
For sure. All right, let's get to Boston and Sacramento. 110.25 implied total for the Celtics, 102.75 for the Kings. Yuck. On the Boston side, doesn't look like we're going to get Kemba, still out with a left neck injury. Whatever. Gordon Hayward still out with a broken hand. Lots of ownership coming into the Celtics, in particular the 4-man band of Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, and Brad Wanamaker. Yeah, Brad Wanamaker, 53% owned on FanDuel at 4K, 27% owned at 4,300. All these guys in double digits, some upwards of 30 like Tatum on DraftKings. I don't have a ton of interest in Marcus Smart now that his price is in the sixes, but I am certainly in for some Tatum. I really like Jaylen Brown for 7,100 on FanDuel, and I completely understand why Brad Wanamaker is chalky.
Can I just say Semi Ojeleye must have abs of steel to destroy Kemba Walker's head like that?
I think he does. I mean, Semi's huge.
Seriously, if you ran into my stomach, it would be like, you know, that blob thing where you jump off and it goes in and then it shoots someone into the water.
Yeah, I've always wanted to do that.
Me too. Ever since watching, what's the Fat Camp movie?
Heavyweights?
Oh, come on. Heavyweights. What a good movie, huh? What a good flick. But
no credit for me getting that right. Come on, man. That's a good pull.
That is solid. Well, I mean, Heavyweights is a good flick.
I agree.
You know, very good movie. I'm going to go watch that sometime. And I also want to do The Blob, but that would be like it'd be like falling peacefully into a cushioned blob. Yeah. But with Ojeleye, no, he almost snapped his neck, dude. Yeah. Like, it's crazy.
You'd just be happy that it didn't hurt his right neck.
not that it's a laughing matter, but here I am laughing. So Wanamaker's ownership is pretty wild. Yeah. But he's going to get the minutes. He's facing a Sacramento team that they've definitely made some improvements this year. And from a pace of play standpoint, I thought that they'd be like the top team, but they're not. They're 27th in pace this year, Josh. Less than 100 possessions per 48. Kind of surprising. I guess if you get the minutes, though, you still just gotta run with it in someone like Wanamaker.
Got to shout out TJ Doms for the super chat. Thanks, guys, for being a part of my new daily routine. First channel I've ever subscribed to on YouTube. Never bored the full hour. You guys rock. You
awesome.
Rock as well, TJ.
Thanks for making it part of your routine, man.
Yeah, happy to have you. Appreciate the super chat. Is there anything you don't like about the Fab Four of the Celtics for today?
I just think it's going to be a really slow game. If there was one part about this that I didn't like, it's and I say it a lot. I don't take this stuff as Bible. Like just because there's a low total or even like a low implied total, it doesn't mean that I have no interest in these guys. But yeah, second lowest total on the slate. And with some of these guys, the price it comes down to salary. On DraftKings, let's talk about this for a second. Look at some of the salaries on DraftKings.
Yeah. Where
you've got Jonathan Isaac at 7,900, Jaylen Brown 6,800. I know he brought some of this up, but Jason Tatum is below $7,000. If these guys were all priced up around that 8K mark that we had seen, mid 7K, high 7K, I would have a lot less interest. But sometimes you just have to take advantage of what's given to you.
Jason Tatum's one of my favorite plays on DraftKings today.
Yeah, the price is wild.
Yeah, which he's also 30% owned, so I'm not telling anything you already don't know, but makes for a really nice cash option.
When you're getting the minutes that these guys are playing too, right? Like I've got Jaylen Brown and Tatum both projected for big minutes here. I got Jaylen Brown at 35 minutes, and when you're getting that much run at sub 7K, it's going to take a lot not to get there.
I'm going to whiff on this dude's name real bad. We just got another big super chat. $10 Canadian, which if someone can send Nolan a message to translate that into real money, that would be great. I don't know. Last name Blaze. That much I can do.
Thanks, Blaze. Appreciate you, brother.
Cashed in good yesterday. Once again, you guys are the best. Really appreciate all you do. More Canadian pesos coming your way.
7.52 United States dollars.
There we go.
My guy.
Monopoly money. That's a lot of loonies and toonies, my friend. The only thing that I remember about Canadian currency.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah. I don't really have anything else to say from Boston. I think it's really easy. Play the dudes that are going to be playing 30 minutes.
Do you like Marcus Smart? I get it. What you just said would assume that you do, but of the Browns and the Tatums and the Wanamaker, what about Smart? Where does he rank for you?
Last.
Okay, that's kind of what I was getting at. Yeah, me too.
Yep. Yeah, dead last. But still in play. Like it's not bad. It's just the least appealing.
Correct.
Okay.
I don't know what's going on with Bogdanovich.
I don't know. I have him in now.
Every game he's a game time decision and then he plays, but yeah.
There's another. Whoa.
What's up?
Corbin in YouTube chat with the $20 super chat.
Corbin.
No message whatsoever. Just 20 bones. So
much love, bro.
Appreciate
Man, you
that.
guys, I'll tell you what. Josh and I going out for a steak dinner sometime soon.
We are.
Thanks to you guys.
Yes, we are. Pizza bites only. Just pizza bites.
I'm okay with that. I'll do some Domino's. I'll do some ham and pineapple, Josh.
Oh God. You know, they don't make those in pizza bites. They respect the craft.
I guess that's why I don't eat pizza bites.
Maybe I'll come up and we can get some cheesesteaks. I think we're both on the same page for that one.
Hell yes, fella.
All right.
And maybe we'll meet some subs while we're doing it.
Eat some subs.
There's questions all the time.
Eat some subs and meet some subs. Don't flip those around though. We don't want to eat our actual subscribers.
No Jeffrey Dahmers.
We are not cannibals.
We are not. We're no Dahmers.
But if we were, we would be fine young cannibals.
Oh, God. That, by the way, that hit song they had, fantastic.
Yeah, agreed. And then $9.99 from Dave of Slack fame, Dave. Cashed NBA 4 days in a row.
These dudes are showing love today, huh?
Yeah. We appreciate it, Dave, for real. Stop posting pictures of phony food, but other than that, we're good.
Thanks, Dave. Who would have thought that the reason we're going to run late is because our viewers are as generous as they are. Think about that.
Yeah, I mean, we had plenty of reasons to run late. This is the best one we could have had. This is the best one we could have had. We really appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. I've got Bogdanovich in for 34 minutes. He's $100 cheaper on FanDuel than on DraftKings. He's $22 on Yahoo. I'm a big fan on FanDuel. I'm a big fan of Rashawn Holmes at $6,200 on FanDuel. Same price on DraftKings. Probably don't need much else from Sacramento, or at least not as of right now. Does anything stand out to you?
This is a really good Boston defense. And there are certain spots where I'm just not really all that enthusiastic about targeting teams against them. I also love Bogdanovich because he's really good. Been preaching this when Fox went out. This is your best player on the Kings. And I don't think he might be the best player on the Kings, period. Yeah, right. I think Bogdanovich is that good of a player, and he's such a well-rounded player with distributor. He's a solid enough rebounder. They're not great, but he gets it done, give you 4 a game. Great shooter, gets to the line enough, and he's a great three-point shooter. So Bogdanovich, like you said, if he's in, I'm there. DraftKings at 7,200 probably don't get there because this is a very difficult spot, but where you can get him cheap, sure. And then aside from that, I'm pretty much off of it. Do you think Rashawn Holmes is playable if he gets another 34 plus minutes?
Okay, 2 things. Yes, I do. He's the same price on FanDuel as he is on DraftKings, so I'm largely ignoring him on DK and I'm playing a bunch of him on FanDuel.
We said that a lot this morning.
It seems to be the case clear across the board. It's just pricing's so weird. One thing to circle back on, the Hawks have recalled Bruno Fernando from their G League affiliate.
Okay, well.
So you can throw all of that Alex Len, Damian Jones shit in the garbage.
Good thing we wasted an hour on that.
It would have been really helpful if that game were last.
Yeah, tell me about it.
So, yeah. Okay, there's that. No, I'm going to play a lot of Holmes. He's like one of my favorite values on on FanDuel today. He is my highest ranked power forward for today relative to salary.
Okay. Makes sense to me.
So him and Bogdan, if they're in, I'm in. I probably don't need much else coming from Sacramento. I also like Holmes and Bogdan on Yahoo.
Yeah, those are the only 2 guys that I have interest in too. Holmes on 62 on DraftKings. Definitely a less appealing option, but there's minutes. 2 of his last 3 games, he's played 34 plus minutes. When you're getting that type of run, you have that clear double-double upside. He's blocking shots. He's getting steals. He's defensively playing well. You're seeing some pretty nice upside from Rashawn Holmes.
For sure. They were also, the Hawks are also calling back up Tyrone Wallace, which 1, I didn't know that he was down, but 2, I think that's probably a sign that Cam Reddish is not playing today.
That would make sense. Yeah, that would make a lot of sense that he's out.
Yeah. All right. Anything else for Boston and Sacramento?
No. Boston, big 3, and I'm including Wanamaker. I don't like Smart nearly as much just because I think you can do better at that price. Bogdanovich on FanDuel, Holmes on FanDuel.
Okay. Perfect opportunity, you guys. Hit that like button while you're here. Please subscribe to the channel, but the like button would be tremendous. Coming up later today, Laffy will be on with Manny immediately following this show, taking a look back at this weekend in the NFL. I will have office hours behind the paywall for our subs at 1 p.m. That will be a live stream for about an hour. Boss man Alex Baker will likely be doing the same thing at 4 p.m. behind the paywall, Alex's game plan stream. You'll get Jake doing NHL at 4. You'll have the deeper dive at 5 with Adam and Laffy, and then live before lock tonight, myself and Chris Spags at 6 p.m. Closed out with live before lock NFL edition. Who's the Monday Night Football game tonight?
Monday Night Football is the Ravens and Rams. A little Lamar Jackson action.
There you go.
Lamar Jackson action. How about that? He's so good.
He really is. He really is. So yeah, we have a ton of content coming up for the rest of the day. Free content for today: NBA Showdown ownership, NFL Showdown ownership, NHL ownership. It's an ownership Monday. You can check it all out.
It's an
at
ownership
awesemo.com.
bonanza.
It is. It is an ownership bonanza. 5 games to go. No, 6 games to go. 30 minutes to go. Let's set the clock at 5 minutes. Miami Heat, Charlotte Hornets. Heat, 10.5-point favorites at home. I see 3 things that I like. We guess we need to talk about Kelly Olynyk at 4,200 on DraftKings. He's getting 12% ownership, but Jimmy Butler is 9,600 on FanDuel. 7,700 on DraftKings. You can talk me into that one for sure. Bam Adebayo, 8,800 on FanDuel. 7,100 on DraftKings. You could certainly talk me into that one. And then Goran Dragic, 5,700 on FanDuel, 5,100 on DK. Minutes are starting to creep up a little bit. Those are the only 3 guys that I'm really looking for across all 3 sites. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, Jimmy Butler at that price tag. Again, does it not feel like everyone's either overpriced or underpriced on DraftKings?
Yep, it really does. It really does.
Jimmy Butler to me is a really good play here. I don't know what, I'm a huge Philly guy. I don't know why these Philly fans aggressively booed him when he returned to Philly. Bro, every time he touched the ball.
You don't know why the Philly fans booed him. Have you?
Well, no.
Have you not been a Philly fan your entire life? They
Josh,
boo everyone that's not from. This is
because
normal.
They booed him because they're Philly fans. I'm saying, I guess that's the point. There was no reason for it, but
right.
I wasn't huge on that.
No, he owes Philadelphia absolutely nothing.
No, he doesn't. And it's not like he left on terrible terms. Now Minnesota should boo him. Just being clear. Minnesota should boo the shit out of him. Right?
Yeah.
Philly doesn't really need to. He finished the season out with him. He helped them get pretty solid in the playoffs. So, to 7 games against Toronto. I don't get it. It's neither here nor there. Philly beat the piss out of him. It was pretty cool. And with how bad Carson Wentz has become, it's nice to see the Sixers winning some games. But I digress. Jimmy Butler at that price, it's tough to get around that because even the great thing about Jimmy, first of all, he's not a great shooter. Okay. Jimmy Butler is just not a great shooter. He's a decent scorer, not a great shooter. And we've seen this for a while. I know he's shooting 43% this season. That's fine, but he's going to have some games where he's just dreadful, shooting 27% from 3 this year. But here's the great thing about Jimmy Butler is he's got a 30% assist rate, almost a 10% rebound rate, 24% usage rate, and a 4% steal rate, 2.5% block rate. Combine all of that, and you start falling into these games where you've got 21, 5, 5, 4 blocks, 2 steals, and you don't need a huge scoring game. Going up against Charlotte, this feels like one of these spots where you end up seeing Jimmy Butler with a very similar game to that against the Charlotte team that's 112.7 defensive rating, ranks 6th worst in the league. And I just think you're going to see a lot of opportunities for block shots and steals for Jimmy Butler. Yeah. Charlotte's the second most turnovers this season per game. Charlotte has the second most turnovers per game.
Yeah, they give up fantasy. They also give up fantasy points 5% higher than average. So defensively, just not very good. It's really hard to get away from that Butler price. I don't even hate him on FanDuel. He's too expensive at 9,600. Like, that's an outlandish price tag. This is just a really good spot for him. Especially, given you don't get the Heat totals at 112 all that often. Testament to the Hornets. I really like Butler. I really like Bam. I really like Dragic. Those are 3 guys that are going to be a part of a lot of my lineups.
Does anyone want to explain to me why Bam Adebayo is 7,100 on DraftKings?
I don't get it.
I'm sorry. I keep repeating this, but it's wild. How is he 7,100 on DraftKings? He's been spectacular this season. And a stat that I give you quite a bit, but it needs to be remembered. The Charlotte Hornets allow more points in the paint than any other team this year, right? That's pretty important when you're talking about a guy like Bam Adebayo, who is never going to just, come in there and start knocking down consistent elbow jumpers or 16-footers. You're never going to get that from him. You're going to get excuse me, a lot of opportunities around the basket. And this is exactly the spot that you want to do that, or you'll be able to do that against a really dreadful front court defense, interior defense. I don't know about you, man, but this is a really appealing spot here for Bam Adebayo at that price point.
Absolutely. I greatly prefer him to Blake at the same price. Just a really easy swap for me. From the Charlotte side, Graham, Rozier, and Bridges need to be looked at slightly. No one has more ownership than 7% Rozier on DK, so no one's playing the Hornets. I'll probably have shares of Graham, Rozier, and Bridges, but none of these guys are legitimate options. I don't have anything else to add for the Hornets. 101.75 implied total is the second lowest on the slate.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Alrighty. All right, well, we got done that one in 5 minutes, so we're on pace. Raptors and Sixers. This one should be quick. 106.75 for the Raptors, 107.75 for the Sixers. By all accounts, everybody is going to be in for this one. Somebody's questionable for the Sixers, I believe. Is it Richardson?
Richardson was back last game, unless he's. Hold on, let me just make sure. I thought he was fine. Ridiculous. Korkmaz is questionable, but who cares?
There you go.
That might have been anything. Richardson had 32 points in 26 minutes. A crazy good game.
Yeah.
And I'm sure people are going to scream revenge, but yeah, unfortunately, when you're taking the same amount of shots that you're taking every game, right? He did, your coordination, your 3-point shot doesn't get better because you're facing your former team. He shot 6 of 7 from 3. So he did the exact same usage, Josh. He just knocked down all of his threes. Hard to believe that adrenaline is enough to make your shots go in from 25 feet out.
Yeah, it's nonsense.
Just saying. Because of course, I was hearing all about that.
I'm sure you were.
Not personally, but look at what he did to his former team. Dude, he did the same thing he does every game and just knocked down a bunch of threes.
No ownership coming in for Siakam or Van Vliet on DraftKings because, surprise, surprise, they're priced poorly. Siakam is $100 more expensive on FanDuel. I like that. Van Vliet is $300 cheaper on FanDuel. I love him there. I would say that he is one of my favorite shooting guard options. I don't have much interest in anything else from Toronto outside of Norm Powell, again on FanDuel. Siakam on Yahoo for $45 looks pretty tasty. On the Philly side, it's pretty much just Embiid, 10-2 on FanDuel, 8,800 on DK. Just need this guy to play 30 minutes.
Yeah, it is a spot that I am very much not enthusiastic about for Embiid, though. I know Marc Gasol is not the same player, but he has ruined Joel Embiid's life, and we saw it in the postseason. I'm legitimately concerned about this spot. They play great defense on him. Joel Embiid has still struggled to pass out of double teams without turning the ball over. They don't give the big thing about Marc Gasol is that Joel Embiid leads the league in post-up points, and he's phenomenal. You've watched him operate in the post. He's excellent in the post.
He's like the second best center I've ever seen in the post.
Second to
Nikola Jokic.
How did I know? How did I know? But this is a big deal to me. This, if you're good in post defense and Marc Gasol's fantastic, I don't know how you're going to be able to produce against him. And this has been the biggest thing all of his career. Good defenders give him absolute fits in the post. And I think you're probably going to see that be the case again. So
26% ownership on Embiid right now.
And of course you understand why.
Yeah.
I get it.
Here's the question for you. Embiid at 8,800, Andre Drummond at 87.
Embiid at 88, Andre Drummond at 87. I'd go Drummond here.
Ooh.
Embiid's averaging 1.62 fantasy points per minute this season. His per minute production, he's been super efficient on a per minute basis. He really has. But I think this is listen, I hope Embiid comes through with big numbers here. He needs to have a big game against a good defender. I just don't think this is a spot that's going to be easy for him to do it at all. At all.
Simmons, Harris, and Horford, 15, 14, 17% ownership on DraftKings. These guys are all priced quite a bit lower on DK than they are on FanDuel. I have no interest in any of those guys on FanDuel. Do you have any interest on DraftKings? I don't really want anything from Philly outside of Embiid.
No. Although, well, that Ben Simmons price point is at least interesting on DraftKings. 7,300 is pretty cheap, and he looked a whole lot better the last couple of games. Last time he played 27 minutes, so he lost about 6 minutes in a blowout. But Ben Simmons at 73, if you wanted to make an argument in favor of Simmons at that price, I'm not going to argue on that whatsoever. If Simmons scored 53 and was in a tournament-winning lineup today, it wouldn't shock me.
I get it. I think I would probably, if he's going to get ownership, I would rather just naturally pivot to Zach LaVine. I think they're both pretty comparable at that price tag.
What's his ownership at right now?
I mean, not that it's big. It's 15, but LaVine unowned. Bogdanovich, $100 cheaper, unowned, but also questionable. I think he's easy to get away from. He is the guy that I'll say this. He's the other guy from Philly that I like the most. I just don't have a ton of interest.
Hey, by the way, just to kind of reinforce what I'm saying about Embiid, because I'm sure people think I'm crazy that I don't like him at this price point. Check this out. The Raptors, 0.63 points per possession in post-up situations this season. 0.63. That is the lowest in the entire league. No other team is really even close. The Bucks are 0.68. No one else is below 0.65. That would be the Pistons. 0.63 points per possession in the post this season. They're allowing 1.6 post-up points per game, Josh. Per game. That's crazy.
That's craziness. That's nothing. That's essentially nothing.
Nothing at all. And you're talking about a guy that leads the entire league in post-up scoring. You know, Joel Embiid this season leads the league with 8.5 post-up points per game. Last year, Joel Embiid was second, 8.5 post-up points per game. 2017, he was second behind Aldridge, 9.1 post-up points per game, 40% frequency. He's operating in the post in 35% of his possessions this year. No one else is even close to that. So it's not even like, hey, he'll score other ways. That is his bread and butter, man. And it's going to be hard to butter it today.
Anything else from your Sixers?
Nope.
Bulls and Blazers. Bulls 1-point underdogs at home against the Blazers. We'll start on the Chicago side. Wendell Carter, 20% ownership on FanDuel at $7K. 23% on DraftKings at 6,500. I'm not really interested at either of those numbers. That's just too much ownership. Markkanen's still at 14 on DK because he's down to 5,500. I can understand why he's going to get a bit of love, but I think that Zach LaVine on FanDuel for 7,400 is the most appealing piece of this game, and I'm not all that interested in the Bulls in general.
Me neither. Can I ask you one quick question? I know we don't have a lot of time.
Sure.
I'm sorry, but it's a relevant one. It was a really good question.
Go.
Nicholas said, who benefits most when Philly's production goes away from Embiid? I just thought that's a question worth answering. I
have no idea. How do you even measure something like that?
And the problem is that it's a good question, but I think the answer would be Embiid's still going to shoot.
Yeah.
So he just probably isn't going to make a lot of them. But
yeah.
I wouldn't try to look at this game as, hey, get more of this guy or more of this guy because Embiid's going to struggle.
Yeah, I don't really know how to factor that in of who gets the shots, who does well when Embiid doesn't do well. That's a tough thing to plan for.
I know what he's saying because Embiid's such a big time contributor. But all right, yeah. Sorry, I wanted to get that out of the way. The Bulls you're talking about, right?
Yeah, I find them to be largely uninteresting outside of LaVine on FanDuel.
Yes. Now Portland, this Portland team's bad, man.
7% worse than average on a fantasy point per possession basis. That number is 28th in basketball.
Yeah. Wow. No, they're bad. They are not good.
Who could have seen that coming with two poor defending backcourt members, Hassan Whiteside and now Carmelo Anthony?
I know, it's a huge shock, right? I wouldn't have seen. And you lost Al-Farouq Aminu.
And Mo Harkless.
I guess they thought that like Bazemore would help in that regard, but
amazing that didn't happen.
No dice. Yeah. They are top 10 in pace. They are bottom 10 in defensive rating. Big surprise, right? So
I don't need 20% owned Wendell Carter, and that's like the only thing that is worth talking about here.
No, but one thing that's kind of interesting about this Blazers team is they're really bad at defending the paint. And that can really open things up for players that live around the basket. So I guess take it for what it's worth, but it does feel like a spot where Wendell Carter could give you some good production here. That's about it though. Portland Blazers, allowing the most second chance points in the league this season. They've just been terrible around the rim. Just because Hassan Whiteside blocks shots doesn't really mean a whole lot. This is an area that they have really struggled.
I'm going to have so much Portland. It's stupid. Here we go. So Damian Lillard is 4% owned on FanDuel at 9,500. I'm going to end up with more than that. CJ is at 2%. I'm going to end up with a lot more than that. He's $600 cheaper than he is on DraftKings. And then we get Whiteside, who I think is a reasonable play at 8,100 on FanDuel. He's 6,100 on DraftKings. He's also projected for 42% ownership, but that's why Wendell Carter at 6,500 doesn't look all that appealing to me, because Hassan Whiteside is $400 cheaper.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, Hassan Whiteside's been all right.
1.2 FanDuel points per minute over the last 30 days for Whiteside. Wendell Carter, 1.03.
Yeah, and he's always in foul trouble too. But
so, Whiteside's one of the best values on DraftKings today. His ownership is showing it as well. But I want the three main bananas for Portland tonight, and I can do without Carmelo Anthony.
Right. Yeah, I actually, would you say Wendell Carter's actually getting ownership on DraftKings?
23%.
Yeah, that's crazy. I would think he'd be a lot less popular. If that was the case, I'd actually really like him. But a guy that's consistently in foul trouble and is $400 more expensive than Whiteside. Whiteside, I know, getting ownership too. But yeah, I think you're right there. Lack of ownership would totally change my opinion, but that's not the case. Zach LaVine is solid, as you pointed out. Moving to Portland, yeah, the whole Damian Lillard being back is kind of going to put a damper on everything, but not really, because everyone's prices would have come up anyway, and then you'd just be paying a premium for guys that actually aren't that good. So when you say you're going to have a whole lot of Portland, you got Hassan Whiteside. Who else are you going to have a ton of if you're
Lillard, McCollum, and Whiteside? They're unowned on FanDuel.
Yeah. All right.
Like CJ McCollum is 7,700, same price as Van Vliet, $100 cheaper than Dinwiddie. McCollum at 1.5% ownership, Dinwiddie at 17, Van Vliet at 23. I don't see those three guys as like dramatically different.
Now, if that holds, then I can certainly see your point.
Meanwhile, Dame is $200 cheaper than Trae Young. Trae Young at 32% ownership, Dame at 4%.
McCollum 83 on DraftKings, 0.1%. That's got to still be too much money for you, though, right?
8,300 is a tough sell.
What about 89 on Lillard, 3.9% ownership?
A better sell than CJ at 83, but not super appealing.
Okay. Carmelo Anthony, 5K.
Pass.
Yeah, get that out of here.
I mean, he won't pass, but like I will pass on Carmelo Anthony.
I can't get there.
I don't have anything else here. Whiteside for 6,100 is broken pricing on DraftKings.
Like everything we've talked about.
Yeah.
And Lauri Markkanen still stinks.
It's 8.87 FanDuel points per minute this season. 0.02 of a point ahead of Kobe White.
Dude, this guy's had single-digit real points in 3 of his last 4 on the Bulls.
He's hurt. They talked about him being hurt. I don't know why they're not letting him heal if he's playing so poorly. It's clearly affecting him.
You would think so, because otherwise he just sucks, and I don't think he sucks.
No. All right, we got to pick it up. 3 games to go, 11 minutes to do it. Milwaukee Bucks, Utah Jazz, 5.5-point favorites for Milwaukee. Rudy Gobert is questionable right now. It would surprise me if he didn't play, but questionable nonetheless. If he's out, get yourself some Tony Bradley. He's going to be a value. 12.5 for Giannis on FanDuel, 11.8 on DK, 21,000 on Fantasy Draft, and $58 on Yahoo. I like him most on FanDuel, where you don't have a choice and have to play two small forwards. There's also not really much value at the bottom of small forwards, so you're likely paying down at other positions, making Giannis more appealing. I don't really need to get to him at 11.8 against the other best defense in the league. I don't have much interest in anything from Milwaukee right now. A little bit of Bledsoe's fine.
Yeah, I don't think I'll take. I don't want to take up much time here. Just not a game I love, and I would be willing to get to some Bledsoe, but when he's playing an average of 28 minutes and his ceiling is 32 minutes, it sucks because he's been good.
Yeah, he's been better over the last 30 days than my baseline model has him.
Yeah, there you go. What about Tony Bradley?
You play him if Rudy Gobert's out.
You'd be all right with that getting, you say, 22 minutes?
I'm assuming his price is the bottom. I don't really have him in right now, but
actually, you know what? The thing with Gobert is he already missed the game, so it's not unrealistic to think that Rudy Gobert could miss again. And if that's the case, things begin to get very interesting. Bradley had 5 fouls last game, and this is Saturday, so like I said, I'm going to pull it up. So Tony Bradley, 2 personal fouls to start. Then he had, all right, so he didn't foul there, and he returned in the second quarter for 4 minutes, and then he got so he got 2 personal fouls to start the fourth. Then he had 5. So I think he probably would have. I probably would give him like 26 minutes here.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, you're playing him. That's for sure.
For sure. At 22 and 26 is a big difference, even for a value guy. He's a per minute guy, actually 1 fantasy point per minute guy for his 2+ year career. Not that he plays a lot of minutes per game, but you can take what's given. Bradley around 25, 26 minutes to me would actually be a very valid guy that plays close to the basket.
Yeah. None of this matters if Rudy Gobert is in, though.
Nope. But if he isn't, well,
yeah.
At least we talked about it.
Yeah. Look, you play Tony Bradley if Rudy Gobert is out. You don't if he's in. I like Rudy Gobert for 8,300 on FanDuel, actually. But so I kind of hope that he's in. He's not going to get any ownership whatsoever. Pace up spot. I think it could be a good opportunity. Milwaukee likes to get to the bucket. So after that, the highest ownership on anybody on the Jazz side is Donovan Mitchell at 3%. I see nothing of value here.
No, me neither. Outside of that Milwaukee plays at what do you? I know. We're fine. We're fine on time.
We have 2 more games in 8 minutes, man. What are you talking about?
Yeah, we're fine. What are you talking about? We're good. All right. Well, Milwaukee leads the league in pace by almost 2 possessions per 48. They're playing at a ridiculous pace this season. Utah is playing at the 10th slowest pace. This is a 7 possession per 48 boost for Utah.
The big one.
So maybe that super low ownership on Utah could actually come in handy, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, anybody you want to roster on the Jazz, you're going to be contrarian with that pick.
Right. Man, Mitchell's expensive on DraftKings, though.
Yep. Very unappealing one way or the other. Ugh. Speaking of unappealing, Spurs and Lakers. Lakers 5-point favorites in San Antonio. If Jake Puddle continues to get 24 minutes, he's 3,900 on FanDuel. They're probably going to use him given the way that the Lakers are set up. Lots of Dwight Howard, and they've got a lot of big men. Put it that way.
Who?
Jake Puddle.
Oh, yeah. Spell that for me.
That would be JakePuddle. Jake Puddle. Some might say Jakob Pertl.
Okay. I know.
He's the only guy that I have any real interest in. That would be on FanDuel.
Jake Puddle.
If I get a little bit of DeRozan or Aldridge, it's whatever, but I don't care about the Spurs, and neither does the public, especially against the Lakers team whose defense has been fantastic.
Yeah, and I'm not paying $4,800 for the turtle on DraftKings.
No, not so much. $3,900 on FanDuel is worth it, especially if we find out, we probably won't know, but I would think that he would continue. Like, this seems like a game you start in and get minutes against Dwight and
I would think so.
And JaVale.
Yeah, I don't have I don't have interest in anyone from San Antonio.
I don't really have any interest in anything from the Lakers outside of I prefer LeBron to AD on FanDuel. They're 11-8 and 11-4. And I prefer Anthony Davis on DraftKings to LeBron because Anthony Davis is 9,700, whatever that means, and LeBron is 11-2. No ownership going to either of those guys on DK right now. LeBron at 14 on FanDuel is the only one coming in, so those are the only two options for me. I don't really have much interest in anything else. $3,800 KCP on FanDuel is disgusting, but I guess needs to be talked about.
No, it doesn't.
That works for me. How are you split? What do you want to do with AD and LeBron?
And yeah, you're right. I mean, Pope, if he's getting 30 minutes, fine. But just everything is soaked up by LeBron and Anthony Davis that it makes everyone else extremely unappealing. Anthony Davis at 9.7, yeah, on DraftKings, you pretty much are forced into getting some of him here.
Yep.
San Antonio defensively is nowhere near the team that they've been in the past. They're also not that super slow team either. I mean, they play at a middle of the road pace, but you've since over the past couple of weeks seen their defense unravel, man. They are a bottom 5 defense now, sandwiched in between the Hawks and the Charlotte Hornets. That's where we're at right now on this team, and it's bad. So very, very good spot for Anthony Davis. I'm not worried about Aldridge or Pirtle or Trey Lyles defense.
No, not at all. Play your AD on DraftKings. Play them both on FanDuel if you want. Largely ignore the rest of the Lakers.
With this, I would agree.
Late night hammer. Golden State Warriors, Oklahoma City Thunder. Thunder 5-point favorites in Golden State. Draymond Green questionable. They only have 9 bodies. So we're doing this again. I have Draymond in. I think if Draymond is in, it's Burks, Green, Eric Paschall, Willie Cauley-Stein as viable. Willie Cauley-Stein down to 4,600 on DraftKings, getting 27% ownership. On FanDuel, I'm going to get some Burks at 5,900 and some Paschall at 6K. They have to play 240 minutes. If Draymond is out, I'm playing all this garbage again.
Yeah. I think Draymond Green just has zero interest in playing right now.
Still at a fantasy point per minute this season.
No, I know. But no. I mean, actually getting on the court.
Oh, yeah. I don't blame him either.
No, I don't either. The thing that sucks here is OKC isn't a very good team, but defensively they are very good. And they're going to limit the efficiency of an already inefficient offense. So I don't know how much that really matters here because, like you said, you still got to play 240 minutes. But overall, it's pretty ugly for the Warriors. Willie Cauley-Stein, yeah, it's fine. You know, if Dre's out, obviously that's more appealing because you got to put those minutes somewhere. I give him around 26. I know he played 28 last game, but Marcus Chris has played more minutes recently. He's actually been the more efficient one off the bench, but who's paying $5K for Marcus Chris? I can tell you right now, I'm not. Mari Spellman's played 28 minutes in back-to-back games, but that price isn't exactly free. So the problem I have with these guys is, I mentioned earlier, Kai Bowman's $200 less than Malcolm Brogdon. How the hell am I getting to these players with any confidence?
You're not. They're not fun. They're lineup filler for sure, just because you know a bunch of these guys are going to have to play like 30 minutes, but they aren't smash lock dudes.
No.
Like Kai Bowman, if Draymond is out, is still 4,600. You got to play a bunch of him because he's going to play a ton of minutes. If
on
Draymond's
FanDuel, you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alec Burks is $500 cheaper on FanDuel and DraftKings. That's a spot where he's getting those minutes one way or the other, and he's one of the few guys that are just going to keep heaving.
FanDuel's different, man. Eric Paschall, 59 on DraftKings. It's not crazy. He's had some big games. He's getting opportunities. He's rebounding well enough. But there's nobody – you would think – put it this way, Josh. You would think that when you had only, 9 players that you would like these guys a lot more than we do.
Yeah, for sure. That's a good point. On the Thunder side, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander for $7K. Gallo for 6,100/5,900. He's getting close to 20% ownership. I don't have a ton of interest in the Oklahoma City side outside of a little bit of Shea and a little bit of Gallo.
I very, very rarely have anything to say about OKC.
Yeah.
Gilgeous-Alexander, because this Golden State team is so dreadfully bad. I mean, they are dead last in defensive rating by almost 1.5 points per 100 possessions. They're bad, man. They're really bad. So SGA, I get it. Probably don't find myself getting the Steven Adams, but if there was ever maybe, what do you think of Steven Adams? I know we're out of time here, but what do you think of Adams at $5,400 on DraftKings?
I have no interest. He won't be in my player pool.
Isn't that crazy that he's this cheap and there's still like not really any interest for him? This whole team is pretty underwhelming. Dennis Schroeder, he has some big games here and there. If you throw him into a tournament, fine, but he's not below 5K. All the prices are kind of underwhelming. SGA, I think, basically just to repeat what you said, that would be the one spot that I'm willing to get to.
Wow. Well, here we go. That is it. 11 games up and down. Tons to go through. We will have Lofty will be back with Adam for the deeper dive at 5 o'clock. I'll be back with Spags at 6. Hit the like button on the way out the door. Go tune into Lofty and Manny coming up immediately after this. Right now, they're going to be firing it up, talking some NFL. Lofty, you got anything else?
No. Hit me up on Twitter, LOUGHY_D. Follow me. And Josh Engelman. You won't regret it.
You won't.
We'll see you in a couple minutes.
Later, guys. Best of luck today. Shouts to Yahoo.